Imagine you own a piece of land. You wanted to cultivate that piece of land. But then you are charged exorbitant rent over that land. So much so that anything that you're going to produce, most of these things go into the hands of the so-called government. And then if there is any amount of a trouble that you're going to face, the government squeezes you further. And then if it is that you require some amount of an assistance, the government squeezes you further. And if it is that you go to really fall sick, you are not able to do it, you are dispossessed of your land, and that land is taken by someone else. What will the person do? Think of it. What will the person do ultimately? Now, if it goes on to be having a very high character of morality, some of them will go on to commit suicide, some of them will go on to run away. Maybe few of them can go on to start practicing some unethical practices as well. Like maybe some thieves, some of them can go to steal some of these things perhaps. And if one of them go on to do it, then you're going to color the entire of the community through a state-controlled mass media and go on to empower the lawmakers, maybe the police, to be very, very harsh on them. Now, you are talking about what situation? This is what exactly was done before independence by Winston Churchill in India to allow the Indian people to starve of a lot of things. This is how he created an artificial condition of a drought and then of a what you're going to be calling it as akal. That is a much more, that is famine. In English, it can be called as a famine, but then that is how it was done. And then all of these people were branded that these are the poor people, they don't have any clothes. This is how they were branded in the whole of the world. Now imagine another situation. You have your house. Now what is done is that the government charges exorbitant house tax, and at one point of a time you find yourself difficult to pay that, and then you're dispossessed of your house. You are brought on the streets, and after having been brought on the streets, you are not given any type of an employment opportunity. You are not given any place to work. There is no condition to work for you at all, and if there are minor deviations in your character, that is going to be branded and you're treated very, very harshly in the hands of the so-called law. What will you do? This is what exactly is happening with the religious places, and this is what has happened with the religious places as well for a good amount of a time. And this time has been all the way from 1947 onwards and before that as well. But anything that has happened before that, that may be ascribed to the British, the motivation of the British, the intentions of the British. But anything that is going to be after independence, and that is going to be brought to the government, and the government goes on to show a partisan attitude towards it, what will you say? Now, this is how exactly government has been trying to control, at least for the last 70 years or so. This is how they have done it so. And because they have done it so, they have bled the temples almost dry. Can you imagine that all of these collections that used to be coming to the temples, that used to be used by the government to fund madrasas, to fund some of these terrorist activities, to fund some of these separatist activities? Can you imagine it so? But this is what has been happening in India. Of course, we understand that India is the only country in the world which has funded its own separatism and funded its own terrorism. But then the control of the religious places has been a tool employed with the people of India for this purpose, and then go on to make the priests begging on their feet and then started coloring them in all the type of hues and colors that they are not required to be colored at all. That is how exactly that you allow the quality of maybe dispensation, priestly activities, attitudes to come down all in all. And that is how exactly you start painting a religion in a variety of hues and colors as well, and some of these faiths as well, and so that you can go to propagate it in the whole of the world. The whole thing has been associated with, as you can go to understand it, Sabarimala. That is, it came to be, that is this one article, Article 290A, that goes on to lie in the obligations of the Travancore estate acquired along with the lands of the temple. It was Travancore estate that acquired that part. Now, when the Indian state took over the princely states, it also took over the liabilities and the assets of as well. Thus, the amount given is not fund, it is given just as a rent, and the temple is not state funded in this case at all. Now, this is what has been the case with Sabarimala. But good number of people go on to be saying and essentially to denigrate them, that is, the temple receives funding from the Consolidated Fund of India under Article 290, and this is what is state funding, which is not. And it has obligation to respect the fundamental rights of the people. Now, you will go on to find it. It cannot allow religious discrimination. That is, the state cannot going to allow it. This is how exactly they're going to be interpreting it, and interpreting it in a nefarious manner also. That is with calumny. That is a malicious misinterpretation of it. You will go on to find it happening in other aspects as well. Now, pick up some of these questions. How is it that it is going to be ethical? Are places of worship controlled by state government? All the Hindu temples is going to be yes. Muslim temples, no. That is masjids, no. Madrasas, no. Christians, no. Pick up another aspect. Is it that the government manage a place of worship finance? They go on to managing it only with Hindu temples, not with Muslim, not with Christian. That's not all. Is it that the place of worship is income taxed? Imagine temples are being income taxed in this case, but not exactly any masjid or any type of a church at all. Then you're going to pick up, can government dispose or sell place of worship assets? And this is what has the government been doing, trying to do with most of these Hindu temples, but they're not doing with Muslims and Christian religious places. And then to top it all, can the government use the place of worship income for their purpose? This is what they have been doing. They have been using the income of the temple for the purpose of funding madrasas, for the purpose of making Hajj. How it is going to be explainable? They are using this for the purpose of funding anything other than, of course, any design that is going to be ethically correct, religiously correct also. But that is not going to be with respect to Christian and Muslim religious places. Can the government interfere in the management of education institutions of that is run by the religious bodies? They don't go to do it madrasas, but they do it with temples. They don't do it with a church, but they do it here also. And then that goes on to make it clear, can education institutions run by religious bodies discriminate on hiring of teachers, workers, and so on? It's like fulfilling some of them in the temples with some of these nefarious designs, with some of the people who go on to show a complete disdain towards the deity, complete disdain towards the goddess, like spitting on them, like having their legs on them. Now, these are the type of people who are going to be employed by the state for the purpose of being employed in the temples. Can they do it and are they doing it with respect to the churches and the masjids? Answer is no. Now, constitutionally, it is not correct. Now, when you're going to say that India is secular, then why is it not that the same type of rule law can go on to apply? Now, that's another part. It doesn't going to apply because it is going to be partition. It is going to be with a lot of some of these things. And that is why we go on to say that is it is ethically not correct to tax the temples. It is ethically not correct to take the fund of the temples. It is ethically not correct. As we say, there is the mode of control of the religious places, and that is not ethical, that is not logical, that is not legal as well.
To have more such discussions and analysis, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for notifications on our upcoming videos.